Anything else is extra on that word. Okay? So we should always be searching for those 3 letters or those 4-letter words. Okay? Find out what the root is. And once you know etymology and the word and through its shape, you'll be able to understand, and you have a strong vocabulary, understanding what was intended by that word before entering it into the sentence. Now, what is nahwu? What is nahwu? What does nahwu literally mean? When we learned the technique here. Everything is technique, Ranger. What's the first thing you give when you give a definition? There's 2 types of definitions. What are the 2 types of definitions?
Literal. Technical.
There are literal and a technical definition, right? So what's the first one you give?
Literal.
You give the literal definition and then you give the technical definition. This is what we need to do. We need to remember that all time. The technique doesn't change, no matter how many years go by. And this again is a sign of the people of the Sunnah, that you follow, you follow the way of those who came before you. So when we say nahwu, we say, okay, it means what? Grammar. Right? It means grammar. Then after that, now explain to me what you mean when we say grammar. Now, let the Ustadha say. Go ahead.
The changes that happen in the world, or the changes that happen to the word in the sentence.
That's not clear. You get a majhul as an answer. I don't know if you know it for sure. Who wants to help her out? Faddal Hind. Okay, Faddal, who's next?
The changes that happen at the end of the word after into a sentence.
Okay, usually when somebody drops their voice in the middle of a sentence, that means they got kind of worried about the answer. But he's 100% correct. The word grammar, according to us, means the changes that happen at the ends of a word after entering that word into a sentence. It also includes where that word is placed in that sentence. That's part of the grammar also. Whether it's first, second, third, okay? So that is what we mean when we say grammar. Okay, everybody understand that? Yes. Do you have any questions about that? Now, since those are the most,
Repeat that again. The changes that happen to a word when it's...
the ends of the words. At the ends of the word. How many roots does a word have?
3.
A word has 3-letter roots. That's what y'all said, right? Yes. Okay. So remember the point. Attention to detail. No one-word sentences. So if it has a 3-letter root, then on the 3rd root, you'll see changes happen. The changes, what we mean here, we mean what? What are the changes that happen, Hakeem?
At the end of the word, the last letter in the word.
What happens to the last letter at the word?
It changes depending on what is...
What changes? What changes are we talking about?
Talking about the changes that take place.
What are those changes?
Either a kesra or a...
The raf'un, nazbun.
Right, a khaftun, rafun, nasbun, jazmun. Right, so we're talking about a fatha or a dhamma, which are the first 2, right? Right, a fatha, a dhamma, they're the 2 imams, right? Why are they the 2 imams? They lead everybody. They're in every word. Every type of word has a dhamma and a fatha. In fact, what's the asl? What's the foundation for every word? What should it have at the end of it? If it's ismun. Dhamma, 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 right? If it doesn't have a dhamma, something happened. That's if it's an ismun, okay? So just to clarify. Dhamma, dhamma, dhamma. If it doesn't have dhamma, something happened. And then we said a kasra or a sukoon, right? These are the asl. These are fundamental changes that happen at the end of a word, right? And these changes happen why?
Because of what precedes.
Because of some grammatical clause, some rule, because of where the word is placed after entering the sentence. That's what we have to study to find out why it changed. Okay? So that was kind of like a trick question. So going further, just going through it, there are things that we have to study. What is the first thing you need to know after learning that those 2 subjects are the most important sciences? What next do you have to learn about the Arabic language? The letters. You have to learn the letters. You can't say you know the language if you're not familiar with the letters in that language. So we started off learning about the letters. Now some people say, oh, you go too far. No, we don't go too far. We don't leave off tawheed. We don't leave off salah and the issues of fiqh to do this. But we do learn them to the point where we need to use them. One time. If you learn it right the first time, you don't have to come back to it. You understand? And that's what happened to the majority of people in America. Most people learned it in their childhood if they're immigrants and they don't remember much about it. Or they didn't learn it if they grew up here and they taught themselves and they don't know if they know the fullness of the issue. Either way, a thorough review is necessary for both peoples here in the United States. Okay? So we went through it and we're going to cover a few things on each letter that doesn't go too far but doesn't give too little. And that goes what? With Bismillah, give it to me. Can you recite it? No, you can't. So what have you been studying? What does the word study mean? Wow, how can you be a student if you don't know what the word study means? Study means to look at a thing. That's what it means. Over and over again until you memorize its literal meaning and what it implies. So if you know what studying is, you will help yourself when you look at a thing. What do you do? What are the actions taken in studying? You look at a thing over and over, pondering over its meanings and memorizing what it says. You may say, no, I don't memorize everything. Yes, you do. You memorize that thing and you never leave it until you memorize it or you don't actually learn it. Anything you can articulate on, you've memorized it. You've put it in your own words, but your own words don't leave the actual meaning of what the other words you read about that subject. So now we know, and that's why the only reason we write it down, the only reason we look up different aspects of it, so that we can understand it fully and keep looking at it. So if we just memorize the first time, we're halfway through the lesson. Then all we have to do is listen. With Bismillah, WAL-HAMDU. Go ahead.
Blessings on the Prophet. I have my say with you today concerning orthography.
Okay, it says, with Bismillah and Alhamdulillah, then blessings on the Prophet. I'll have my say with you today concerning. What is orthographics?
Orthographics, that means
There's no us in the language unless you're doing negotiations. What does orthographics mean?
Something that's visual, something that can be seen.
Something, break the word down. Ortho means what? It's ortho is from the mouth.
right.
What does graphic mean? Visual. Visual. So something that comes from your mouth that's visual, it's just a big word meaning what? The alphabet. It's a big word meaning the alphabet. Because the alphabet is actually supposed to be, not the American alphabet, but in Arabic it is totally orthographic. Every sound that comes out your mouth has a grapheme, has a visual representative. Okay, that's what it means to be orthographic. The visual representative of an oral sound. Does that make sense? Yes. Say ba, ta, tha, ja, ha, kho, da, tha, ra, za, sa, sha, sa, da, ta, dha, a, gha, fa, ta, ka, la, ma, na, ha, wa, ya. Each one of those sounds has a visual representative for it. There are no, like in English, English is not orthographic. Who can tell me how many sounds the letter, the visual letter H has in English?
One.
No, that's not true. You write H one time, but it has two sounds. Say the word heavy.
Heavy.
Now say the word happy. Those are two different sounds. They're both represented with H. You understand? Likewise, the sh sound. Everybody say sh. Is there a visual? Is there an alphabet for that? No. There is no alphabet. And the diphthongs that they make for that, because they have to make up letters, two letters together to represent that, are many. You can use C, you can use S, you can use SS, you can use TION. You can make a bunch of them. And there's no rule to establish why.